Hello, my name is Nicole Walker Johns, and I'm honored to share with you my reflection on completing the MBA program with a concentration in supply chain management here at Post University. This journey has been transformative, not just academically, but personally and professionally. As an Army veteran with over 7 years of service and currently holding a position as a supply technician supporting Army ROTC programs across multiple universities, to include Tarleton State and Texas A&M Central Texas, I entered this program with tactical expertise but limited strategic perspective. I knew how to execute supply chain operations, but I didn't fully understand how to structure them. I could manage property accountability down to the serial number, but I struggled to articulate the business value of what I did. This MBA program changed that fundamental limitation, and in doing so, it changed my entire professional trajectory. When I started this program, I brought years of military supply chain experience to the table. I thought I knew logistics, but this MBA program showed me the difference between tactical execution and strategic vision, and that revelation has been profound. SCM 525, Logistics and Transportation Management, was the course that first cracked open my thinking. I remember the moment during the Farm Commander manufacturing case study when I realized I was approaching the problem all wrong. I was focused on moving products efficiently, but the real question was, what transportation strategy creates sustainable competitive advantage? Professor Menon's guidance helped me understand that every mode selection, every carrier contract, every warehouse location is a strategic choice and it has financial implications. This wasn't just about getting items from point A to point B. It was about designing networks that drive profitability. That shift in thinking has fundamentally changed how I approach ROTC supply distribution across my assigned universities. Business 640, Emerging Topics in Business, transformed me into an advocate for innovation. Studying blockchain application in supply chain visibility, AI-driven demand forecasting, and digital transformation gave me not just knowledge, but courage. When I analyzed the Army's uniform transition from UCP to OCP and its business impact on Proper International, I learned to see beyond the transaction to understand supplier relationships, change management complexity, and stakeholder communication strategies. I now understand that resistance to technology isn't about the technology. It's about managing human adaptation to change. This insight has made me more effective when advocating for GCSS Army improvements within my organization. The MBA core courses provided me with the financial and strategic language I was missing. Financial analysis taught me to build business cases that speak to leadership priorities. Strategic management showed me how to position supply chain initiatives as competitive capabilities, not just cost centers. Operation management connected efficiency matrix to customer value. My capstone project became the synthesis of everything, where I could take a real problem, such as inefficiencies costing over $111,000 annual in my ROTC programs, apply MBA level analysis, and propose a cloud-based solution with a projected 73.3% ROI. For the first time, I wasn't just identifying problems, I was engineering strategic solutions with measurable business impact. But this journey has tested me in ways I didn't anticipate. Balancing a full-time workload supporting multiple ROTC programs with complex property accountability requirements and an MBA course load while being a mother to my son required a level of discipline and sacrifice that sometimes felt overwhelming. There were nights when I was finishing property book reconciliations during the day and literature reviews at midnight, wondering if I was doing justice to either. The academic writing transition was more significant than I expected. Military writing is direct, action-oriented, and follows strict formats, bottom line up front, bullet points, and concise. Academic writing requires synthesis, theoretical frameworks, critical analysis, and exhaustive citation. Learning APA format wasn't just about commas and italics. It was about learning to build scholarly arguments, evaluate sources critically, and contribute to academic discourse. I probably rewrote my paper 5 times before I understood what synthesizing sources really meant. But that struggle taught me intellectual humility and precision. Perhaps the deepest challenge was psychological. As someone who entered through tactical military logistic roles, supply specialist, property accountability, I felt I was playing catch up with classmates from traditional business backgrounds with corporate supply chain experience. There were moments when I questioned whether my military experience was legitimate business experience. But here's what I learned. My experience managing classified electronic devices as a special electronic device repairer, my accountability for high value assets worth millions, my work within rigid regulatory frameworks like Army property accountability policies, these weren't limitations. They were unique strengths. I brought practical perspective on high stakes supply chains, mission critical logistics, and working within complex compliance environments that many of my classmates had never experienced. My background wasn't a deficit, it was a differentiator. Accepting that was transformative. Based on my experience, I have 3 recommendations for improving the program. First, create more structured opportunities for peer collaboration across concentrations. Some of my richest learning came from team projects in SCM 525, where diverse perspectives challenged my assumptions. I learned as much from my classmates in finance and marketing as from my professors. Consider implementing cross-functional capstone teams or collaborative case environments that mirror real business environments where supply chain works alongside other functions. Second, develop case studies specifically focused on government and defense contracting contexts. While corporate case studies are valuable, those of us in federal service face unique challenges. FAR and DFARS regulation, government unique procurement system, bureaucratic change resistance, and mission first cultures. Case studies addressing these contexts will help us apply MBA concepts more directly. The defense industry represents billions in supply chain activity that deserves curricular attention. Third, expand practical technology exposure through labs or simulations. The program excels at teaching supply chain concepts and strategy, but hands-on experience with enterprise resource planning systems, warehouse management platforms, transportation management software, or even GCSS Army for those in defense would better prepare graduates for immediate application. Even simulated environments like system application and product demonstrations or supply chain digital twin software would add tremendous practical value. So how will this MBA make a difference in my life and career? It has fundamentally redefined my purpose and expanded my vision of what's possible. Professionally, I now see my role not as managing property books and processing requisitions, but as optimizing a supply chain ecosystem that directly impacts cadet training readiness and ultimately future Army officer development. My capstone project isn't gathering dust. It's a living roadmap I'm actively using to advocate for GCSS Army integration within Army ROTC. When I meet with leadership now, I don't just report problems. I present cost-benefit analysis, ROI projections, and strategic implementation plans. I've transformed from a technician executing tasks into a strategic advisor shaping systems. This degree has also positioned me for advancement. As federal positions increasingly require graduate education for senior level positions, this MBA opens promotion pathways I couldn't access before. But more than credentialing, I now have the competency to lead at higher levels, to manage teams, design processes, and influence policy. Personally, this degree has shown me that growth has no expiration date. Returning to graduate school was not only for me, but to be a role model for my son. Showing him that his mother could balance full-time employment, family, and graduate education while maintaining high standards taught him resilience more powerfully than any conversation could. This MBA has also connected me to my Maryland roots in unexpected ways. My analytical thinking, my work ethic, my determination to prove myself, These reflect values instilled in me long before military service. This degree honored those foundations while building upon something entirely new. Most importantly, this program has given me confidence and clarity. Confidence to challenge inefficient processes without apology. Confidence to propose innovative solutions knowing I have the analytical foundation to defend them. Confidence to know that my military logistic experience combined with graduate level business education creates a unique value proposition. I can bridge military and civilian supply chain worlds in ways very few others can. And clarity about my purpose. I want to use this education to modernize supply chain systems, to mentor other veterans transitioning into supply chain careers, and perhaps eventually teach the next generation of supply chain professionals. Post University didn't just teach me supply chain management, it taught me to think like a leader who perhaps specializes in supply chains. As I approach completion in December, I'm filled with gratitude for the professors who saw potential in me even when I doubted myself, for the curriculum that stretched my thinking beyond comfortable boundaries, for classmates who brought perspectives that I've never considered, and for the opportunity to prove that transformation is always possible when you commit to the work. This MBA hasn't just been about earning a credential. It's been about discovering my strategic voice, claiming my seat at the decision-making table, and accepting that I belong there. The next chapter of my career begins with this foundation, and I'm excited. I hope you enjoyed my reflection and have a great day. Thank you.